At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Kathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs.
When billionaires overstep, the people under them start whispering. And right now, those whispers inside Indiana's front office are getting louder. Multiple reports claim that Steve Simon, the billionaire owner behind Pacers Sports and Entertainment, is facing quiet resistance from his own executives. Not from fans, not from players, from the people inside his building. They say it started after Simon's now infamous CCT message, Caitlin Clark's team, spread through internal meetings. That phrase became gospel overnight, reshaping everything about how the Indiana Fever were run. But as Clark's influence grew, so did frustration from longtime staff who suddenly felt erased from the decision-making process. They used to ask for our opinions, one insider allegedly said. Now we just execute orders. At first, people thought it was just a shift in direction, but the more Simon pushed his Clark-first vision, the more people started questioning whether the Fever were still a basketball team or just a brand built around one star. And that's when the quiet revolt began.
Obviously, I did not make those comments. Caitlin has been a transformational player in this league. She's been a great representative of the game. She's brought in tens of millions of new fans to the game, proud of what she's put on the court. Unfortunately, the injuries held her back from a full season this year.
For months, people inside Pacers Entertainment described Steve Simon as laser-focused. He wasn't talking about player development. He was talking about metrics, how many jerseys sold, how many sponsorships renewed, how much engagement Caitlin Clark generated on social media after every game. Executives who once built careers around scouting and basketball operations now spent half their week in marketing briefings. The mood was shifting from competition to commercialization. Insiders claim that Simon personally approved new advertising campaigns, new slogans, even which player interviews made it to the team's official page. One staffer put it bluntly, he's turning a sports franchise into a marketing department. And it worked, at least at first. Profits soared. Clark's popularity exploded. But behind that success, veteran executives began to feel like passengers on a runaway train. They started asking the same question among themselves. How far will Steve go to protect his investment? Things reportedly reached a breaking point during what some are calling the marketing mutiny.
Low, because she's a #1 pick, she'll make a little more than that, but she also has millions and millions of dollars of endorsements. She's actually, because she declared to become pro, her endorsements are higher in dollar value. She has a global platform now, not just a US platform, so she's going to do just fine, as will the top players.
Several Pacers executives, including those overseeing sponsorship and branding, allegedly pushed back against Simon's latest directive, a plan internally known as Project Spotlight. The rule was simple. 80% of all digital ad spending, social content, and brand partnerships had to center around Caitlin Clark. No exceptions, no compromises. One senior staff member reportedly questioned the move, warning that it could alienate the rest of the team. Simon allegedly cut them off mid-sentence. "The Fever are Caitlin Clark," he said. "That's the brand." That moment, according to insiders, changed everything. People realized they weren't part of a discussion anymore. They were part of a hierarchy. Emails later surfaced hinting at the internal rift. Words like unsustainable, imbalanced, and dangerous dependency started appearing in correspondence between departments.
Caitlin Clark has single-handedly revived the WNBA, and every player needs to thank her. The WNBA has been a losing organization since their first season in 1997. In 27 years, they have lost an average of $10 million per year, and they're projected to lose $50 million in just this.
But as any billionaire knows, controlling the message is everything. And when executives stopped echoing his vision, Simon reportedly made a decision that shocked everyone. Late this summer, an internal meeting reportedly turned tense. Executives from Pacers Sports and Entertainment gathered to discuss season metrics and public perception. But instead of a pep talk, they got a warning. Multiple sources say Simon told the room directly, "If you're not aligned, you're replaceable." Within weeks, 2 PR directors and a sponsorship coordinator quietly resigned. No public announcement, no press release, just sudden LinkedIn updates and moving on posts that left fans scratching their heads. People who were once the backbone of the Fever's resurgence were suddenly gone. One insider claimed they left because basketball took a back seat to branding. The tone around the front office changed overnight. Executives started saying things like, "Watch what you say," and every email could be read.
My name so much, it's not something you really ever get used to.
What about people waiting? I mean, there's people in line at like 10 in the morning here.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about that? It's kind of blow your mind a little bit.
Well, I wish it was all reserve seating so nobody had to do that. It would make everybody's life maybe a little easier, but that's just like dedication. I think it just shows what people are willing to give.
The atmosphere reportedly became one of control, not collaboration. And that's when the leaks started. By early fall, podcasters began hinting at a cold war inside Indiana's ownership group. Small details started appearing in sports gossip channels. Talk of burned-out staff, silenced voices, and private meetings that felt more like interrogations than brainstorming sessions. One viral post claimed Simon was running the Fever like a startup, not a team. Another suggested that several Pacers executives were quietly feeding journalists information because they felt powerless to stop him internally. Then, fans began connecting dots. They noticed cryptic tweets and Instagram stories from former staff about respect and balance. One ex-employee liked a post that said, "Basketball used to come first." None of it was direct proof, but the timing was too perfect to ignore. The more the Fever won financially, the more it seemed like they were losing something else, their identity.
Back to my main point, like I said, we are in the biggest moment in WNBA history. There's no denying that. Everybody knows that, and everybody that's in a place in power has a true responsibility, and even myself, we have a responsibility to make sure that this game is in a great place going forward with the CBA.
But despite the leaks, despite the criticism, one thing stayed constant. The money never stopped flowing. For Steve Simon, results speak louder than rumors, and by every measurable metric, Caitlin Clark was the most valuable player the Fever and the entire WNBA had ever seen. Her jersey sales shattered records. Fever home games sold out months in advance. Corporate sponsors from across the Midwest renewed multi-year deals before the season even ended. Every game she played boosted TV ratings by double digits. Inside Pacers sports and entertainment, the financial graphs told one story: up and to the right. Executives who tried to warn about burnout or internal backlash were reportedly told, "Look at the numbers. We're winning." That's the paradox of Steve Simon's empire. You can't argue with success even when it's built on silence. As long as the money pours in, the strategy can't fail. But behind the spreadsheets, another problem was forming, one that money couldn't fix. Because for every record broken, morale inside the building was breaking too. And soon, someone from within was ready to challenge Simon directly.
I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything.
According to Whispers Online, the confrontation came from someone Steve Simon never expected, one of his own senior executives. Some say it was Amber Cox. Others believe it was Kelly Krauskopf, the longtime front office veteran who helped build the Fever from the ground up. Whoever it was, they reportedly told Simon something no one else dared to say. "You're forgetting the game." That moment, if true, didn't go over well. Simon allegedly dismissed the warning and doubled down on his authority. Shortly after, sources say those same executives were under review for alignment. It's the same phrase that appeared in previous internal memos: alignment, meaning loyalty to the vision. From that point forward, meetings became shorter, trust became thinner, and Simon's circle got smaller. Those who stayed learned a lesson: silence is job security. But the cost of silence is culture. And as one insider put it, you can't build team chemistry when everyone's scared to speak. By now, the atmosphere inside the organization feels more like survival mode than collaboration. People describe communication going through approved channels only. Departments that used to work side by side now exchange filtered memos instead of open ideas. Meanwhile, the Fever players can feel the tension. Body language during press conferences looks stiff. Questions about the team's new direction are met with polite laughter or awkward glances. And when someone mentioned ownership influence, one player reportedly muttered, "Next question." Steve Simon, true to form, remained silent. No interviews, no press conferences, no denials. The same man who built a billion-dollar mall empire understands one thing better than anyone: silence can be a weapon. Because as long as he doesn't speak, no one can quote him. And as long as the profits stay high, no one above him will intervene. But silence also creates a vacuum, one that fans and media love to fill. Now, speculation runs wild. Is the organization fracturing? Are key executives planning to resign after the season? Could the WNBA itself eventually step in? No one knows for sure. But what's clear is that the Indiana Fever of today feel very different from the one that existed before Caitlin Clark arrived. You can hide boardroom drama behind press releases, but you can't hide energy, and fans feel energy better than anyone. They notice when the smiles disappear during warm-ups. They notice when players dodge tough questions. They notice when the franchise starts looking more like a PR machine than a basketball team. Online forums are filled with speculation. Some fans defend Simon, saying his aggressive business style is exactly what the WNBA needs to grow. Others call it dangerous, a billionaire hijacking a team for personal profit. And somewhere in the middle are the fans who just want their team back, the one built on chemistry, unity, and that blue-collar Indiana spirit. What's crazy is that fans have started doing their own detective work. They analyze interviews frame by frame. They compare press statements. They track every cryptic post from players and staff. The Fever might try to keep things quiet, but the internet never stays quiet for long. And every time another rumor leaks, it fuels a bigger question. Has the business side finally swallowed the basketball side whole? Here's the truth. Steve Simon isn't just running a basketball team anymore. He's running a brand, one powered by the most marketable player in women's sports. Caitlin Clark, for all her brilliance, is now at the center of a billion-dollar business experiment. The executives who once helped shape that success are now the ones fighting to keep their voices heard. And somewhere in that tension lies the real story. Not about wins or losses, but about who controls the narrative. Maybe this is just what happens when generational wealth meets generational talent. Maybe it's the growing pains of the WNBA's next evolution. Or maybe, as some insiders fear, it's a ticking time bomb, one scandal away from blowing up the image that's making everyone rich. Because when billionaires start playing basketball politics, someone always gets benched. And this time, it might not be a player. So here's the million-dollar question. Has Steve Simon gone too far, or is he simply doing what every powerful owner eventually does, protecting his biggest asset? The Pacers' empire is still growing. The Fever are still making headlines. And Caitlin Clark remains the face of everything Indiana touches. But under the surface, the tension is undeniable. Loyalty is being tested. Voices are going silent, and every decision seems to trace back to one man. So as Indiana prepares for its next season, one truth remains. This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about control. If you've been noticing the shift in Indiana too, smash that like button, drop a fire emoji in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Because if the rumors are true, the next few months might be the most explosive chapter yet in the Fever story.